When the system of the AA was rebuilt, the material wasn't only extended, but some of the techniques actually reshaped. An example is the Greater Hexagram Ritual GRH. Built on Golden Dawn's traditional Supreme Hexagram Ritual or SRH, the rite is sometimes regarded as a grossly simplified variation. But is this really the case? Is GRH a merely oversimplified adoption, and which one should you use if not working under an organization or an order and perhaps approach rituals like a chaos magician? While the third is something only you can decide, in this video I'll share a few reflections based on what I've learned. The goal is not to discredit one rite or another, but to help you make an actually more informed decision. SRH. Based on Golden Dawn's Lesser Hexagram or LRH, SRH uses variations of the traditional Golden Dawn hexagrams or geomantic shapes. It works with nothing but planetary forces or the 7 classical planets in their mystical or sephirotic and practical or path aspects. Besides planets, the zodiac signs are also attributed to elements, so the Golden Dawn works with those via the Supreme Pentagram Ritual or SRP. This means each planet has its own kit or set of the Golden Dawn elemental shapes or triangles, going clockwise for invoking and counterclockwise for banishing. And understanding those requires considering the hexagram mapped to the tree. The first triangle commences at the point attributed to the planet Sephira, the second one to the opposite. For instance, Hesed and Hod for Jupiter, Geburah and Netzach for Mars. And here I suggest reading the parts of mystical Kabbalah regarding to Hesed and Hod and Geburah and Netzach. While this is pretty straightforward with the Earth hexagram, it really isn't with the triangles, and actually this is where the challenging part comes in. SRH requires excellent familiarity with the planets attributed to the first and the second triangles based on the element as they change with each form. The Sun and Tiphereth. Since the Sun represents equilibrium, SRH uses all other hexagrams for each direction, and this makes a total of 24 hexagrams, which, depending on who you ask, refers to an individual corner and elemental shapes or an entire circle with nothing but Earth hexagrams. GRH. Now, GRH differs from SRH in several ways. The first and most apparent is employing a single Earth hexagram for all its forms, and this makes the rite extremely convenient as one only needs to envision the tree to not mess it up basically. The second is working not only with planetary but also zodiac forces. Actually, many sources and groups keep those strictly for GRH. On the contrary, the zodiac signs attribute to both planets and elements as mentioned, hence others also include them in their pentagram formula. And for zodiac signs, GRH utilizes the hexagram of the ruling planet. For example, Virgo Mercury, Taurus Venus, Jupiter Sagittarius, etc. Names and colors. Like SRH, GRH follows the king scale for practical operations while the queen scale for mystical. As explained in my video on color scales, the first attributes to the path, whereas the second to the Sephira. The first goes with the spirit, the second with the intelligence. A subtle difference. This is where a subtle change comes into play. While most sources use sephirotic names for the higher worlds, and this is perfectly fine, GRH employs Agrippa's path or planetary names provided in 777 stable god names in Asia, and just like the colors, in some cases the names repeat, but in others they do not. Examples include Jupiter Hesed El and Awa El Ab, Sun Tiphereth and Raphael and Michael, and Hod Mercury and Michael and Raphael. For the signs of the zodiac, things also aren't necessarily straightforward, as they too have a dual nature. For the zodiac paths, GRH employs path colors of the Atzilutic tree. For the mystical, it uses the Briatic scale Chokmah, and the reason is that all signs attribute to Chokmah, which is the sphere of the zodiac. In the first case, the hexagram is in the path color, the sigil is in the complementary following Golden Dawn's flashing colors, built on what is called reflective or complementary color scheme. In the second, everything is grey, the color commonly associated with Chokmah. For their names, zodiac signs use the permutations of the tetragrammaton and Chokmah's names. For knocks or ring bells, they go with the number of the ruling planet. For instance, Sagittarius 4. Commonalities. Depending on preferences, both SRH and GRH can use a fifth hexagram in the planet's current direction in space. Usually, this is charged with all 4 names, Ararita and the letter in Ararita attributed to the Sephira. For instance, Jupiter Resh, Mercury Aleph. For the Sun and Tiphereth, Both rites follow the same approach, yet the limit scholars like David Shoemaker also recognize the sower unique cursor hexagram as a suitable option. And speaking of this, GRH can actually be entirely unicursal, though I do not know of many people doing it like that. Directions. Since it's based on LRH, by default, SRH follows the Golden Dawn Zodiac model, which may or may not bring some active retrospection and scenarios from the past. Also to keep the shift somewhat local. While modifications are possible, GRH entirely bypasses that, which many will actually find more suitable. Conclusion. As you can see, both SRH and GRH have their intricacies. For the first, these are its hexagrams and overall technique. For the second, they are the extended and elaborate attributions, possible modifications, and greater flexibility. So it is not necessarily that one is more sophisticated than the other. They just have different specificities. Given that, I believe learning GRH is actually a well worth investment, especially in a combination with the operant model, which allows working with any force micro and macrocosmically. But that's just my opinion. Let me know if you agree, check my digital assets and books, subscribe to my channels, support me, and thank you for your time.